Hello, my loves. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Dustina. This is Boujee Astrology, and we're going to take a deep dive look into February 12th and February 18th and all the astrological transits at hand. Before we get into the week ahead or any kind of recap, I want to remind everybody I am still running a special on all of my Synastry readings. Synastry readings are great for your relationship and understanding your partner's love language and all the things that need to be done and said between the two of you to make things go right in the world. Hopefully, that's a big possibility. Karmic contracts are a good thing to know with synastry readings. You can find out if you have past life connections or something that needs to be overcome with another person in this lifetime. Business partnership readings are great for synastry, generational trauma and generational healing. We have those whenever it comes to synastry readings because we have certain patterns that come down from one family member to another until the lessons are learned, as well as parent-child dynamics. One of the things that I feel like more and more people are starting to become aware of in this generation is how to nurture their child from childhood. I'm a Xennial, so I'm in the mix of like I have Gen X exposure and millennial exposure all together, and I'm telling you, a lot of us were raised with the mindset that you were a child that needed to be seen and not heard. And there's a reason so many people had trauma and damage going into adulthood because they didn't know how to express themselves. If you want to be able to offer a nurturing environment to your child from the beginning, synastry readings are great for understanding the parent-child dynamic that's going on in life. Okay. 1 hour sessions for those are $35. 90-minute sessions, which is more for the generational trauma readings, is $55. Or if you just have a large family, I'm the oldest of 16 kids, guys. Some of us have large families. It is what it is. Okay. Now, before I do any type of recap and start tying last week into this week, I'm going to start this episode with a big disclaimer. Because it's Valentine's weeks, guys. That's part of the reason for the synastry stuff, Valentine's. Let's not set huge expectations on somebody else for this week. This is not the week for that type of energy. Some of us started to over dramatize in our head the way everything's supposed to go. And we're going to get into parts of this week. And if you have your sights set way, way up here, given the transits at hand, a lot of people are not going to be way, way up here. And if you are prepared for that moving forward, that's going to make one part of this week way more easier to manage. If you want to celebrate Valentine's Day, if you didn't do it this weekend, do it next weekend. Don't do it in the middle of the week because the transits this week is not fun for that type of energy. It's just not. There's a lot of things that are coming together this week. And I had said in the month ahead forecast, like when it comes to the month of February, this is either going to be the fastest moving month or it is going to be the longest month, even though it's the shortest. There's not really an in between. Some of us, we are just boom, 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 boom. There's so many little things that are going on. And as soon as that thing hits, it's a long-term effect. It's set in stone. There's no arguing it. This is what I'm doing from now on. This is how we're doing it from now on. Yes, we made this change. Other people, you're feeling stuck. And you haven't had all of the changes and you haven't had everything line out quite yet. And it feels like every single day this month is just drawing on and on and on and on. And part of that reason is so many of our transits, especially starting last week, are going on and on and on and on. But there's a very big shift to a lot of the dynamics to this week. And it's meant to start to bring a whole new set of energy together throughout the rest of the month. Now, for some people, we had a great opportunity last week, something that came through, some new information, some new connection, something that was very, very unexpected, whether it was very, very small or very, very big. We had something very, very unexpected too last week. and the next layer and the next round and the actions involved to that unexpected opportunity are going to start to play out this week. Please note how I said actions. For some people, it will not be actions, it will be reactions. We're going to talk about both. This is not the week to have some high expectation on another person, because disruption, whether it is pivotal or chaotic, is in the cards. It's in the stars. It's in the energy. Be aware that many of us are going to have to be bracing for impact. Now, the issue with the impact this week is, for some people, the actions of this week and the impact of this week will be a continuation from whatever occurred last week. That doesn't have to be a bad thing. Some of us are in really good energy from last week. We had really exciting opportunities. For other people, whatever comes through this week is raw and completely brand new. And you are not going to be anticipating the arrival of said disruption, whether that disruption is news or a person or a situation. You're not going to be expecting it. And that's because of Saturn. Now, I said this right at the end of last week's forecast, in the very last few days. Saturn leaves shadow. Over this weekend, Saturn left shadow. Saturn rules time, Saturn rules karma, rules, boundaries. Saturn is in that mutable sign. The shifts that we are feeling are long-term. We are meant to have shifts because Saturn is in the mutable sign, but everything else is going between fixed signs. So again, long-term shift and long-term changes. But it is time for something new to come through. And I do truly feel like between the two conjunctions that are going to happen to Pluto this week, we will have new things come through. For some of us, that's going to be huge, momentous acts of transformation. For others, it is going to be making us face a fear and a trauma of something we have not been ready to face until now. This is another week where we need to expect the unexpected. This is another week where we need to be very, very aware of change. This entire month has change involved. Some of us, we are experiencing every single change, no matter how big or how small. Others, we're not going to be expecting this week. We're not going to like the things that come through. And there is a weightedness, a weight to this energy. But once it comes through, the weight of that information, situation, occurrence, disruption will be very, very known and expressed. And there is a loudness to this week, a loudness I cannot ignore. And we need to be very, very aware that between this week and the middle of March, we are meant to have new things come through that are just new for this moment. Because at this point, Saturn is out of shadow, Saturn is going through new areas of the sky, and he will not be retracing his steps. Once we get into March, we'll get into the retracing of steps at that time point. But from here on out, throughout the rest of this month, the things that are coming through, it's time for them to come through because they were not prepared before now. We were not prepared before now. The energy was not ready. Our surroundings, our environment, the areas that we've been trying to do things, it wasn't ready. Whether you feel like you're ready or not, the universe is about to make you deal with some things. So I hope you've been able to get ready. Now, the other thing about last week is that all week we had another very small transit that I harped on a little bit. And I want to make people aware of it still, because some element of that transit feels like it comes through with Monday morning. And that is, we had this sextile between Mars and Neptune. And many of us were feeling very, very inspired to make a change. And that's very positive energy with that. Others, we were feeling very, very motivated to figure out if somebody else has been unfair, fraudulent, deceptive, lying about something. And whatever that inspirational energy has been, whether it's been, I'm about to make all of these physical changes, or I'm about to catch this bitch in a lie, and bitch is gender neutral. Whichever way this is about to go can play a big impact as to what the hell is about to happen this week. I'm making everybody aware. If you are one of those people like me that you dream something before they happen, we need to be aware of our dreams, and we need to be aware of our intuition, because our intuition is very on point right now. Something don't feel right, it ain't right. Something feels like it's about to happen, it's about to happen. You're not wrong. Intuition is very, very on point right now. There's a very serious notion as to how things are about to manifest. So again, we've got some things that are about to come through. And some people will be blindsided by what comes through. They are not anticipating it. They are not expecting it. And if you have one great idea that this is all going to be great and rosy and yeah, happy, happy, joy, joy, I don't want to take that away from you. But don't expect that your great energy and your transformational of how you're getting everything lined out is working for everybody else. Because there's going to be a volatility to the first part of the week. And I'm in no way, shape, or form sugarcoating that. So let's get into this week. Let's get into Monday. Monday, February 12th. The moon is going to be in Pisces over the overnight hours. Again, be aware of your dreams. The moon is making a conjunction to Neptune. We can feel inspired. We can feel very, very sensitive, emotionally inclined, feeling very magnetically drawn in a specific direction. And again, be aware of what you are feeling internally Monday morning, and not just because of this right here. So I'm going to show you all of the aspects, and then I'm going to explain why. So between 12 a.m. and 2 a.m. Central Standard Time, here's the moon's conjunction to Neptune. A couple hours later, the moon is going to make a sextile to Mars. Now, this is important because right as the moon is in the sextile to Mars, it is starting to enter its sextile to Pluto, right before Mars and Pluto hit their conjunction. There's a lot of internal energy here. So here's Mars, 29 degrees, 26 minutes. Here's the moon. We feel this the most exact between 5:30 and 7:30 a.m. Right after 7:30, the moon's going to go into Aries, and it will be starting its sextile from Pluto between 7:30 and 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. So we've had, in just a few hours, moon Neptune, moon Mars, moon Pluto. And all last week, Mars was making a sextile to Neptune. There can be internal energies that we are feeling, the dream energies that can be leading to a physical change in our mood and a physical reaction. Like there's something about this energy that very much speaks to something's going on, something's about to happen, something is in the air. Now, we can feel overwhelmed, imagination's running wild, very, very oversensitive. But there is something about when the moon goes into Aries that tells me it's directly going to impact more than one area of what's going on. And there are layers to Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday that tells me that this is going to go on, that these few days and their unfolding is going to last longer than just what's going on in the moment. And I will do a meditative rant video to the layers of what this Mars Pluto thing is going to do. I want to be clear about that because there's a lot. All right. Now, after the moon goes into Aries, whatever kind of has gone on these last few days, our motivation is shifting. So, like, there's a huge motivation to this energy as soon as we go into Monday morning. If you already know where you're making changes and what's going on in your universe and how you're doing things for yourself, going into Monday morning, we are driven, we are motivated, we are focused, we are determined, and we have something exciting going on. Some of us might even feel really competitive to be able to like accomplish something. Other people, if we do not have a healthy way that this energy is manifesting for us and we do not know what's going on and we start getting grabbed by the energy, what we can also start to feel is flustered, frustrated, and argumentative. People can be blunt and brash and forceful with their words. Be aware, because this energy, once the moon goes into Aries, is going to last for 2.5 days. Starting here. If you know what you're dealing with, if you know what changes you are making, if you know the actions that you are taking this week and everything involved with them, for the most part, you know, some elements can be a little blindsiding, I get it, especially if you're going into a new job. Then this can be healthy, exciting energy. If you don't have somewhere to put this energy, be aware of how people are going to be acting around you. Okay. Now, the thing about Monday is these are the most exact transits, and they are literally happening in the overnight hours of Sunday into Monday. So I feel like for a lot of people, we go into Monday with a very specific attitude, a very specific idea of how we feel, of the things that we're doing. Like, we start this day in some kind of mindset. Now, the moon is in Aries. And the other thing about Monday is this is Mars's last day in Capricorn. We know we're about to shift. We know we are about to change. We know we are about to change the way we're doing something. We know we're doing something some way for the last time. Even if that's not the words being spoken of, okay, we're never going to have lunch again after this. Some element of it, again, inside of us, internally, our intuition is on point. We know something's up. The moon had that conjunction Neptune, sextile from Mars, sextile from Pluto, and all for the next 2 days, the moon is in Aries. I feel like whatever starts to unfold in the Mars-Pluto conjunction is a big impact of whatever Aries rules in your chart. And again, the goal is to do a meditative rant video of a little bit more of that. Okay, moving on. After that conjunction, there's not a lot going on. Venus will be starting her sextile like all day long to Neptune, but it does not go exact until the 13th. So a lot of the energy that's being built and the motivation and everything that's going on whenever it comes to Monday, it is very internal energy. There's not a whole lot of external transits that are showing where we're going to make some kind of change or where we're dealing with things. So if you are not okay with it, we're going to feel the restlessness. There's going to be a restlessness in this energy. Okay. When it comes to Tuesday, first things first, 12:06 a.m. Central Standard Time. So right after midnight, at least for my time zone, Mars enters Aquarius. This is going to be, again, a 6-week transit. Mars enters on the 13th and will last all the way until March 22nd. Right as we're going into eclipse season, Mars will be in Aries. The changes that we're making right now are meant to be long-term changes. And we're disrupting this Aquarius area of our chart. What does this rule for you? Is this about relationships? Is this about money? Is this about work? Is this about your family? Is this about your health? Is this about the health of somebody else? Be aware of this energy because we're about to start making changes here. Chaotic and pivotal disruptions are both. We got both. 6 weeks, you're going to have both. Okay. The other thing about Mars coming in and making this conjunction to Pluto at 0 degrees is for a lot of people, Tuesday can be the arrival of something or someone. Something new is coming through. Someone new is coming through. A new activity, a new action. Something is coming through. We are arriving somewhere new for the first time, somewhere between Tuesday and Wednesday. There's meant to be new. And now that Saturn's out of shadow, there's definitely meant to be new. Okay. Mercury is going to have a sextile from the moon. This is going to be between 3:30 and 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I've got this at 4:30. Here's Mercury, and here's the moon. We can be very, very restless in the overnight hours, given that some of these things start to really hit right after midnight. We might not be getting a whole lot of good sleep Monday going into Tuesday. Some of us, it might be just super excited and you just can't, get the jitters out. Other people are going to be feeling like something's about to hit and they don't know why. And Mercury's sextile to the moon right here is like, I feel like something's about to happen. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on. I just feel it. I feel something coming. We're talking about the way something is going on. We're talking about something that's about to change. We're talking about something that we want to do. Now, Venus and Neptune, their exact sextile is on Tuesday morning. And it's actually going between 7:23 and 7:41 a.m. Central Standard Time. So you can see Venus right here, 26 degrees and 9 minutes. Neptune, 26 degrees, 9 minutes. This is exact. Right as the moon is starting to make its conjunction to Chiron and the North Node. So we have this energy of how we're going to do something, what we want to do. We're very, very focused and motivated. We want something. We're meant to feel something and experience something right around this time. And again, Mars is newly at Aquarius, newly hitting this 0 degree conjunction to Pluto. It's not exact on the 13th. It's actually exact on the 14th. It's exact on Valentine's Day. But we're still in this volatile, potentially argumentative, potentially combative, frustrating like energy. If people feel like they're being done wrong, they're going to react. They will be voicing those types of reactions. Is it all going to happen Tuesday morning at 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time? No. This is the energy we're in for 2 days. It's not fun. It's not fun. Okay. Now, the thing about Tuesdays, there's not a whole lot of direct transits during the day either. So I feel like we're buzzing and we're vibrating and we're trying to get something understood and we're trying to talk about the past and we're trying to overcome certain, responsibilities, or we're talking about where certain responsibilities used to be and how they're going to be moving forward. We're trying to transition something in our minds, and it's just a continuous thing. And we're moving. We can feel ourselves. It's like a train. Some of us are super excited. And again, some of us can be over romanticizing some of the actions and connections that are being made with Venus and Neptune. But some of us are just feeling like everything is falling into place with Venus and Neptune. Your intuition. Listen to your intuition. If you start going and daydreaming and lollygagging of how it's going to go for the next 5 years after this one date, no, that's where the delulu is. However, if you can just feel like, okay, this is going on, or you're in that moment, you're talking to somebody and you automatically feel like you are not telling the truth. This can also be where we start to take the actions of looking for something and trying to find that confirmation. Be aware of the energies. Okay. In the late evening, the sun is going to sextile the moon, not a heavy energy. But again, it's taking us into the overnight hours. So again, there's a restlessness in the energy. We're not getting a whole lot of sleep. We're not understanding everything going on. We're very, very, again, excited for some, infuriated for others, motivated for some, combative for others, frustrated for others. Whenever we get to this point in the day, like we're just going to know, like, this is where we're at. And some people, we're going to tell somebody, I'm just mad. Oh, I'm just excited. Oh, okay. We are one or the other. Like, or we're going to be talking about some kind of action we want to take or that we're about to take. And again, Mars and Pluto are in their conjunction. Now, this is not exact on the 13th. The exact is on the 14th. But horseshoes and hand grenades, guys, like we're there. We're totally there. So we're super aware of something that is here, a disruption, something that is changing, actions that are being involved with the recent opportunities. And for some people, that's super exciting. For other people, we're going to be very, very aware of somebody that has been abusing their power and calling them out on it. Especially if there are things tied to the last two conjunctions to Pluto, which was Mercury and the Sun. Mercury and Pluto is how we started February. The Sun and Pluto was back during the January 19th, 20th, and 21st timeline. So yes, there can be previous energies that are playing into this. But this is a very disruptive, heavy action. And there can be some combativeness to it. Now, right after the moon and the sun sextile, we're going to start to move into the 14th, but we're still very, very active. So this tells me, again, we're not getting a whole lot of sleep. And in the overnight hours of the 14th, of the 13th going into the 14th, I almost said that wrong. We got a couple things that are going on almost simultaneously. So one, at 12:03 to 12:33 a.m., that is when Mars and Pluto are conjunct exact. Two, the sun and moon, they actually go from Tuesday night into Wednesday. But not only that, we're going to have this square between Venus and the moon in Mars's sign. And this is important because Venus and Mars, once we get to the end of this week, they're going to start a 2-week-long conjunction. And there can be some kind of questioning or push to take action that's going to lead to the further events. That's going to lead to where we're going next and the things that start to come together next. Mars and Pluto is meant to be something new, new actions, transformational things, things that we are changing, things that we hope to further us along. But for other people, this is not the positive action. This is the disruptive things that confirm something else. And there's a lot of heavy that can lead to volatile. So it's almost explosive energy. And Venus in the square to the moon is just adding more layers to that. It's making a challenge. It's making us aware of something. And after Venus is square to the moon's going to go void. So there can be elements of this that are from the 13th, from the evening of the 13th, that carry over into the 14th, that carry over into the next day. And in some ways, we're trying to challenge something and get it fixed and stabilized. For other people, whatever is coming through, and again, these overnight hours, is going to have a long-term effect. And that's because right after Venus, the ruler of Taurus, squares the moon will go void and then enter Taurus. It will enter Venus's sign. There is some type of push or challenge or questioning the seriousness of something that is being understood. There's a lot here. And I feel like people are going to feel a lot of it. And some people are going to be feeling the way somebody is making them, somebody's going to be pushing for somebody else to explain, why are you trying to make me feel this way? Why are you trying to be so mean to me? Why are you being so cruel? Why would you do these types of things? And it is this energy right here that really makes me question, like, this is not going to be a fun Valentine's Day. It's just not. If you have a good day, I'm happy for you, but I feel like a lot of people are not. Okay. Now, the moon is going to enter Taurus at 9:03 a.m. Central Standard Time. So right here, here's the moon, newly in Taurus. And as soon as the moon goes into Taurus, what is it doing? It's squaring Pluto and it's squaring Mars. Whatever has just occurred, whatever events, whatever actions, whatever reactions that we have been doing these last few days, we are now fully aware of a long-term effect. And that long-term effect is starting to set in. It is starting to cement. It is starting to root its way in to the new routine, to where we've been doing things. That can be a good thing, and that can be a bad thing. Pluto in this square to the moon at 0 degrees, it's questioning of recent changes, questioning of certain people's like positions, questioning of certain power dynamics. Some people can feel a person in a position of power like really weighing down on them, or really frustrating, like projecting type energy right here. And if you are in that energy where you feel like somebody's projecting, that would not surprise me. You can be told again that something's not going to go a certain way. Even though the moon does super well in Taurus, given the rest of the energy at play, this can be very ground shaky type things. Shaking the things that speak to our heart, shaking the traditions. I'm going to say groundbreaking, but I don't mean it in the sense of like good this time. I don't feel like it's going to be good until we get to next week, honestly. Oh, I want it to be good. I want it to be stable. I want this to be helpful for everybody, but I just feel like some people are going to really feel a shift in a focus, and a lot of it is going to be based off of like what has just occurred. There is a heaviness to this week. Okay. Once the moon goes into Taurus, now we also have to be aware of like we're in the last degrees of Venus and Capricorn. So we might not be aware that we're doing something for the last time, but we are, or that something's about to change or something's about to shift. We might not be fully aware that it's coming. So you might not feel this Pluto Mars square the moon for a couple of days. And that really kind of comes down to how it's coming out in your personal life. Some people are going to feel Mars Pluto. Other people are going to feel Venus Pluto. And that's going to speak through as we continue. Okay. The moon will have its square from Pluto between 9:30 and 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Mars is going to square Pluto between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. So we are very much in this energy first thing in the morning. And we can feel like something is coming down on us, someone is coming down, or somebody is questioning, somebody is pushing for something. There's a lot of push and projection and frustration that can still be in this energy even as we get into the morning hours. I feel like after we get through the lunchtime period, that things will kind of like settle down a little bit. But the first part of the morning still feels very volatile, even though the moon will be in Taurus. Okay. After those squares, not a whole lot going on. Venus is still in her sextile to Neptune, but that's separating. Mars and Pluto are still in their conjunction. We don't have a whole lot going on until we get to the evening time. And this is where I think a lot of people are going to need guidance and help. This energy is something that starts on the 14th, but goes into the 15th. And that is the moon's going to make a conjunction to Jupiter. Again, we are going to be going through the very last 24 hours, basically, of Venus in Capricorn as we go through the 15th. Some people are going to get to the end of the evening on the 14th, and they're going to need somebody that can give them hope, that can teach them in the moment, that can support them. There's some energy of just like, can you make the last few days just make sense? What the hell just hit? What just happened? And the moon's conjunction to Jupiter feels a lot like that. For other people, we need some type of lesson, or we need to understand the lesson. What's going on around me? We need somebody that can give us guidance and teach. We need some level of support. We need some level of hope. We need something that's going to come through and put more of these things into a connection. And I really feel like the very, very final hours of the 14th, so late on the 14th, going into the 15th, we need that type of person that can instill a certain amount of hope, that can make certain things be more clear. We need the help of an elder. We need the help of a teacher. We need the help of a guru. We need somebody that connects to our heart and connects to our faith whenever it comes to that later part of the 14th going into the 15th. Saturn will sextile the moon. The moon will hit the conjunction to Jupiter. This all goes between 10 p.m. Saturn sextile moon, 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Moon conjunct Jupiter is 11:30 on the 14th, going to 1:30 on the 15th. So the way we end the energy of the 14th, we need something more solid. And some of us were just wanting to, we finally are able to get our person to open up and talk about what's going on and the weight of everything. And we're able to find a different level of support for them. Other people, you're going to need somebody that's on the outside to make it make sense. What the hell just happened? What's going on? How did this occur? And for some people, we're going to get to elements of the 15th, and there will be a confirmation that something is wrong, something has changed, some type of disruptive action has occurred. For other people, we were the disruptive action, and we made pivotal motions all throughout the week to transform something. And this in the later part of the evening is giving us hope of how things will continue from here. Everybody's in different energy this week, I'm telling you. Okay. Now the moon's conjunction to Jupiter, that again, 11:30 from the 14th to 1:30 a.m. on the 15th. We might finally get some sleep. We won't feel as restless whenever we go through the overnight hours into the 15th. Our minds might still be racing. But when we get into the daytime, we can feel a lot more grounded. We can feel a lot more solid. And we can also feel like we're able to let go of something that is bothering us. Because again, now we are in the last of Venus and Capricorn. Now, Mercury is going to square the moon, and we're going to feel this the most exact between 1:30 and 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. The moon is in Venus's sign. So I feel like whatever starts to occur once the moon makes the conjunction to Jupiter, Mercury's square to the moon, and then the moon's conjunction to Uranus, we all become very, very aware that we are about to make a change. that we're not okay with what just occurred. We're not okay with everything. There can be other levels of confirmation that's starting to set in from recent changes and recent actions that are going to be kind of unexpected. But I really do feel like Thursday is the day we can catch our breath. I don't feel like it's as volatile and as crazy as Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. There's something helpful here. Mercury in this square to the moon can be a questioning of what do you want to do next? I need a minute to think about it. I need some time to decide. For other people, this is going to be an energy that leads to something very unexpected, even if it's not unexpected in the moment. It could be the precursor to what unexpected things are going to come through in the next few days whenever Mercury actually squares Uranus itself. But we can become very, very aware of some kind of communication, confirmation, questioning, travel that has some level of unexpected energy, because with Mercury, there can always be something with travel. Okay. The moon will make a conjunction to Uranus between 5:30 and 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I've got this at 6:30 p.m. Here's the moon. Here's Uranus. It's basically exact. We can have something very unexpected come through. We can hear something unexpected. This is another element that tells me, expect the unexpected. We can tell somebody something shocking. Like, yeah, I'm about to quit. Yeah, I'm about to make this change. Yeah, I'm really upset about what they said or how they said it. And we can know we're about to take some further actions that aren't going to happen in this moment, but we can be telling somebody that they're not anticipating what we're about to do. I don't feel excitement in this energy. For some people, you might have something just kind of exciting happening in the evening, and that's great for you. But I don't necessarily feel like a whole lot of excitement here. I feel like we have something else that's coming through, or we're hearing about somebody else's unexpected situation. Okay. Now, we're going to start to get into the 16th. We've got a couple things going on right here. And I want to get to this early part of the morning, because I feel like we're going to have a lot of things that are going to kind of come through. One, in the early morning hours, Neptune is going to sextile the moon. If you feel something when you first wake up, like that sudden gut intuition, that would not surprise me. If you wake up feeling like somebody's about to call, somebody's about to show up, something's about to come through, oh, I don't think we're going to like the news that we're going to get today. I know we've been waiting on, we're waiting on labs. We're waiting on something. We've been waiting on something all week. And then I was like, I don't think we're going to get any good news today. Some of you might be feeling like we are going to get the good news, but you can just wake up feeling like something's about to hit. Neptune sextile to the sun, I'm sorry, to the moon, while the moon is entering a square from the sun. We're going into the quarter moon, the first quarter moon. The first quarter moon usually instigates a buildup of energy. I don't know that we're going, even though we have this buildup and this reactive energy all week, I feel like whatever occurs this week is going to lead to another round of change that's going to happen throughout the rest of this month. Getting closer as we build up to that full moon in Virgo. But I feel like a lot of what comes through this week is like solidifying something, setting it in stone, making everybody aware of the change. It is time for certain types of change. And once these things are aware, we're not going back from them. Now, Neptune sextile the moon. The sun will square the moon. The first quarter moon is actually going to be right here between 8 and 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And this is what I think is interesting. As soon as this quarter moon perfects, and I did talk about this a little bit on the month ahead forecast, but I didn't go into as much detail as I am right now. As soon as this quarter moon perfects, Venus, where the moon is, where Uranus is, where Jupiter is, Venus is changing signs. Right here. I bump it 1 hour from 9:30 to 10:30. The moon has just perfected its quarter moon, and Venus changes signs. The thing about the 16th is as Venus enters Aquarius, we got two things going on right here besides the quarter moon. Venus is starting her conjunction to Pluto, but Venus is now also starting a long-term conjunction with Mars. And from the 16th, all throughout the rest of the month, these two are going to be right on top of each other, right next to each other. And I'll go a little bit more in detail on that whenever I do the Meditative Rant video and whenever I do the closing of this one. But there's a lot here. And what I feel like for some people is if we've had a really shitty week, that we get to Friday and Saturday, and Venus is the confirmation of something, the results of something, the resolution. She is an aid. She is the results of something that has been going on all week. And in some ways we are prepared for this week, in other ways we are not. And I feel like more people are going to have some things that we are really not anticipating this week. And again, her arrival into Aquarius is perfecting right as we're going through this quarter moon. And this quarter moon is in Venus's sign. In a lot of ways, all of this week is a continuation of whatever occurred last week. In a lot of ways, this week is going to be the next round of changes and shifts and physical transformation and reactions to things that we weren't ready for prior to now. And we don't have a buildup. We're meant to be surprised. Some people are going to feel Venus, Pluto, and it's going to be the results. It's going to be the benefits. It's going to be hopeful. It's going to be helpful. For other people, this is going to be triggering. This is going to be emotional. This is going to be heartbreaking. This is going to be frustrating. This is not an easy week for people. And I am being so blunt about that. I don't know what else to do. Because I still feel like somebody's going to message me and be surprised. I'm like, no. Okay. Now, Venus enters at 10:06 a.m. As we go through this entire day, we're going to transition to the moon going into Gemini. And this is important because Mercury is in this square to Uranus. This will be perfecting all day. Last night, as in the 15th, we had the moon hit a square from Mercury and then conjoin Uranus. Now we're actually going into the Mercury-Uranus square right after the moon goes into Mercury sign. Whatever is coming around, whatever is being dealt with, whatever is coming to light, whatever the resolution is, whatever the disruption is, whatever the pivotalness is, whatever the chaos is, whatever the hell has been going on this week, it's going to get loud, and it's going to get louder. And it's like as soon as certain things come to light, confirmed, resolution, whatever this part is, this Venus Pluto is for you, it's like everybody's going to know. There will be announcements. There will be proclamations. There will be word. There will be news. There will be communication. It's going to get busy. The moon's going into Mercury's sign, and throughout the rest of the day on the 16th, because we got a couple transits that are about to hit, and they all happen to be touching Venus, Pluto, and Mars. All of these are perfecting while Mercury's in this square to Uranus. So let's keep going. The Venus-Pluto conjunction will not actually go exact on the 16th. We're building to it all day. It'll be the last conjunction to Pluto at 0 degrees. As soon as moon goes into Gemini, Mercury sign, the moon is going to trine Venus, Pluto, And these are going to happen between 1 and 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I got this at 3:30. You can see the moon has just went past the 0-degree mark. And between 6 and 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, that's when the moon will go through its exact trine with Mars. Everything just hit at the 0-degree mark point of Aquarius. Everything that we've been processing all of this week is now going to lead to something that is very busy and announced and pronounced. There is an understanding. There is a news breakthrough. Mercury is in this square to Uranus, building all day. There's a lot of information that's coming to light, that's being shared. Busy, busy, busy energy. Social media is going to be popping off. People are going to be popping off. People are going to have a lot to say. People are going to be hearing things that they were not anticipating. Now, the one good thing about Venus going into Aquarius is the fact that as soon as Venus goes into Aquarius, she starts mutual reception to Uranus. Again, Venus is the solution, the resolution, the confirmation of the unexpected, of the exciting, of the breakthrough, of the breakup. Venus is the confirmation. And for a lot of people, they're not going to like the confirmation that's being had. After the moon's trines to all three of these, Mercury and Uranus, their square will go exact between 9:43 and 9:56 p.m. So I got this at 9:30. You can see Mercury and Uranus. Mercury is at 19 degrees, 15 minutes. Here's Uranus at 19 degrees and 16 minutes. It is close enough. I don't have to go any deeper. There's a lot of noise. And this is Friday. There's a lot of layers and a lot of things moving and a lot of things happening. And once we get through Friday, our minds are going to be busy and they're going to be spinning and we're going to be trying to understand and we're not going to be able to fully understand. Mercury in the Uranus square, that's going to go on all day on the 17th. They're going to keep going. They're separating, but that's still very, very strong. Venus will conjoin Pluto exact between 2:36 a.m. and 2:54 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I got this at 2:30. Venus is at 0 degrees, 50 minutes. Pluto's at 0 degrees, 51 minutes. There's that. And then just a few hours later, the moon is going to hit a square from Saturn. This is Saturn's sign. Just as much as it's Uranus's sign, it's Saturn's sign. Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, where the moon is still in that square to Uranus. All of this other stuff, it's still happening. Not only is it happening in Uranus's sign, it's happening in Saturn's sign. It is a part of the change. It is a part of the new. It is a part of what happens next. And again, whatever is meant to come through this week was not going to happen anytime sooner than right here. Saturn is in the higher position, the higher authorities squaring Mercury. The news that has come through, the recent solution, the recent revelation, the recent events. Some of us are going to have to educate another person. We're going to be the Saturnian person in this situation, letting somebody else know something's gone wrong, something's happened. Some of us were going to be the moon, and we're going to be getting something from our parents, the elders, an authority figure. We're going to be told about something that has happened, and we're going to be questioning who's responsible. Some of us, we will be the ones that are going to have to be responsible for something, even if it's not something we choose to be responsible for. There's a heaviness to this week. And for some people, there will be sudden news that's going to come through. For some people, it will be on the 16th. For others, it's going to be on the 17th. And that is spoken right here through Saturn's square with the moon. Now, when it comes to Saturday, all of the transits are actually happening in the overnight hours of Friday into Saturday. When it comes to going throughout the day, there's no direct transit throughout the daytime on the 17th. So a lot of people are just going to be wrapping their heads around, talking about, working through, and communicating all of the recent changes, all of the recent situations. There's a lot of shit being talked about. There's a lot of things being worked through. There's a lot of things being had. There's no other direct transits to the 17th. So some people are going to get to the point that they don't want to talk to anybody anymore. They don't want to do anything. That's okay. When we get to the 18th, the moon will be in Gemini for most of the day. Mercury is going to square the moon. Now that's going to go exact between 4:30 and 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I got this at 5:30 a.m. Here is Mercury, 21 degrees, 31 minutes. Here's the moon, 21 degrees, 35 minutes. This is our reality now. It's expressing and telling other people something that has recently occurred, something that has recently changed. It is adapting to the new. There are layers and elements expressing more about what has occurred, telling more people. Again, a lot of busyness. And we are very, very aware in a lot of ways that we are stuck in a new position, that what has just occurred, good, bad, or ugly, is going to be this way for a long time. And I want to be clear, there will be some good to this week. People will have strong transformational changes, but other people are going to have a lot of weight. Now, Mercury is going to trine the moon real early in the morning. When we get to the afternoon, the moon is going to get into this very precarious, confused energy. And we're going to get to right around here. So this is going to happen between 1:30 and 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I've got this at 2:30, and it's basically exact. Neptune is going to square the moon. Neptune's in the higher authority. There can be something that starts to set in partway through the day on Sunday that just kind of leaves us feeling really foggy, feeling confused, not really sure how to proceed, not really sure what to do next. And the longer we sit in the confusion, the longer we sit in this frustrating, flustered type of energy. And I feel like a lot of the frustration is kind of gone. I think mentally we're just trying to wrap our heads around something, and we're trying to really get a whole different understanding of something. And that's not easy. And something can be said or spoken or felt partway through the day on Sunday that really just kind of goes, well, what the hell do we do next? How do we do this next? How do we continue? Where do I go from here? And there can be this mental energy that leads to levels of emotional processing. And this is kind of how we're going to end the week whenever it comes to next week. The moon is set to enter Cancer at 9:25 p.m. Central Standard Time. The sun and the moon are going to trine one another between 8:30 and 11 p.m. So I have the sun 29 degrees, 55 minutes. Here's the moon 29 degrees, 31 minutes. And these two will actually, in their trine, change signs. And they're going to go from these busy air signs to the sun is going to go into Pisces, and the moon is going to go into Cancer. And there's something about, as things continue, as things start to connect, as certain things start to get realized, as certain things start to really set into our brains, The shock wears off and emotions set in. So I got this at 9:30. The moon just went into Cancer. I bumped this one more hour. While the moon is in Cancer, the sun enters Pisces, and you can see the trine. Water to water, emotional energy. The other thing that is occurring all throughout the next these last few days is that Venus and Mars they're starting their conjunction. This started on the 16th. It does not go exact this week. It's going to go exact next week. And for some people, as we continue into the next week, we're going to be forced to have a lot of things come together. There are layers to the Mars-Pluto conjunction. There are so many layers to it. And there's a reason I want to do a second video just so and do a meditative rant on these two, because I have been meditating on them for months. And there's something about this week that speaks to whatever the hell is going to come in eclipse season. And not just this eclipse season, but even next spring's eclipse season. But not just that, but also some of the elements of what we're going to have to be dealing with later this year in the Mars retrograde. Because y'all thought last summer with the Venus retrograde was intense. You forgot what Mars retrogrades feel like. I didn't. Oh man, Mars retrogrades, they can be detrimental. We have a Mars retrograde that's going to end this year. And in that Mars retrograde, there will be 3 oppositions to Pluto. We are going to have 1 eclipse in Aries while the North Node is in Aries. And that's the one that we're going to have in April. The energy of this week is moving us into a very confirmed, set in, disruptive energy. For some people, it is pivotal disruption because we are in the process of getting a new chapter in our life lined out, in our new place in our career, in our new place in our relationship. And it is going to be phenomenal activity. You're going to be so excited and so happy, and it's going to be a good week for you. And babies, if this is a good week for you, I am so unbelievably happy for you. It is unreal. However, God, my heart hurts every time I've meditated on this week. I have been meditating on this week for months, and my heart hurts because there's going to be something so disruptive, whether that's the big picture sense or just everything in our individual lives. There's going to be something very disruptive that can change a lot of things for a lot of people very quickly. And some people are expecting change and they're good with it, and other people's they're not. It's going to hurt. And some people, each of those hits to Pluto, Mars and Venus, are going to hurt. And it really kind of comes down to what you've been seeing intuitively, what you've been feeling lining out. Are you feeling alignment? Are you feeling like everything's about to fall into this great place of change and new recognition and this new way of being? Are you feeling that? Have you been feeling that? Or have you been in an energy of just feeling like everything's about to go wrong and I'm just waiting for shit to hit the fan? Because this week is very likely to be the week that shit hits the fan. It is our last week of Aquarius season. Our last week of the sun in its detriment. There is things that's meant to impact our identity. There are things that are meant to impact our ego. And it is time for these things to change. We end this week with Mercury in a square to Uranus. There will be more things being announced that are changing for the long term. And once we go into next week, our focus is going to be transitioning of how we handle these long-term effects. good, bad, or ugly, how we handle them. There's a lot of things that are really going to roll through. And I know parts of this week, people are going to get blindsided. They're going to have some kind of news that comes through that can almost be devastating to their heart and their mind. For other people, there's going to be a whole new level of empowerment and motivation of how they are seen and how they are known and how they are understood in this world. February is a very important month because the areas of the foundation for where our next shifts of change are going to be, of where eclipse season is going to put so many things in motion, they are being set now. We had blocks in January, building blocks in the foundation. This month, we're pouring the damn cement. That's why I keep saying we're cementing things. After the cement dries and cures, we have to start transitioning into what we're building. And that's going to be a big portion of eclipse season, of Pisces season and eclipse seasons, both. Because the thing about building is you put up a frame and then you have to go over every bit of that frame, layer by layer by layer by layer. You got to run the electrical, you got to run the HVAC, you got to put in all these fixtures, you have to do all these things behind the walls before you ever put in an insulation. Once we get into Pisces season, which is the next week, we're going to be far more aware of what we're framing in to be the long term. There's a lot of cement getting poured this week. For many of us, it's a continuation of last week. For others of us, it's a whole new ballgame. And you still need to be in a mindset of expecting the unexpected. And if your intuition, your gut has been warning you of something good coming through, then babies, grab the bull by the horns and let it ride. You got good stuff coming. If you have been in an energy where you have felt in your gut like the bottom of something is about to fall out, that something is not right, that something has been wrong, and something has been testing your patience, you're not wrong. Lean into your intuition. And when things start to come through that confirm or deny what you've been feeling, understand those things. They're meant to come through at this time. Okay. I love and appreciate every single one of you. Like I said, I'm going to do a meditative rant video that's going to go more into the Mars, Pluto, and the layers as to how it's going to impact eclipse season and how I think it's going to impact something later this year. And I will have a historical reference as to why I'm thinking all of that. So I will talk to everybody very, very soon. I love you all. Facebook Live this week is going to be Monday and Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right. I love and appreciate every single one of you. Subscribe.